Okay, 2 to the third power equals 8. Again, I am color coding this because I need to show you how we can interpret and change this around. Because remember, the big question is that we have nothing to help us right now in our toolbox, nothing to help us how to find a power besides guess and check. So I use this card a lot. So if you notice on your calculators, okay, remember we used our E to the X button, okay? So you'll see there's other buttons here, L, N, see we have a 10 to the button. We haven't used this log button. So one way to be able to solve for exponents is to be able to write and use logs, okay? So I'm going to take this other side, I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to show you how we're going to use logs. So I need you to write the word log. And I wrote it in black because it's going to be the same as the equal sign. And I'm going to take those same colors that I used on the front, and I'm going to show you where they end up in the log, okay? So you'll notice, okay, I had 2 to the third equals 8, okay? Well, when you write it as a log, that 2 is represented down here. It's like a little subscript, okay? Now, it was 2 to the third power. The third power, that goes over here. And then 2 to the third power equals 8, and the 8 piece goes here. Okay? Being able to write back and forth is really important. In fact, we just did the inverse. Okay? When you stop and think about it, being able to write it in both directions is really super important. So I use this card like every single day for I don't know how long. I mean, it's really, really super important that you understand that sort of writing. Okay, so keep this handy while we. So one of the ways to do this is if I give you something in a log is being able to figure it out, because that's the part that I'm not going to tell you, okay? So for example, all right, log 416 equals a question mark. And you're like, what the heck does that mean? Well, let's write it as an exponent, okay? So, look here. 4 is the same as my 2. Well, where was my 2? As my base. So this really means 4 to what power gives you 16? Well, I can do that without a calculator, right? 4 to what power gives you 16? Actually, I can't do that, can I? I did that wrong, didn't I? No, I didn't, did I? 4 to what power?
2.
4 to the second power. So guess what? Your answer is 2, isn't it? All right, how about another one? Okay, can you write it as an exponent, please? So this is log form, This is exponent form. Okay. All right, how do I write it in exponent form? What's my base?
3.
3. 3 to the, I don't know, gives you 27. Well, 3 to what power gives you 27? Use your power table.
3.
The third, very good, equals 27. All right, here we go. This one's a tricky one. All right, write it in exponent form. Don't get stuck on how to do it. Write it in exponent form. What's my base?
2.
2 to the question mark gives you 1. 2 to what power just gives you 1?
0.
Ah, very good. 0. Good job. That was tricky. All right. How about this one? Log 5. Whoa. Log 5, 1 over 25 equals question mark. Remember, I'm going to use some properties of exponents. What do you think?
Be 1/5?
Oh, careful. 5 to what power gives you 1 over 25? Oh, careful. It would be 1/5. The 1/5 power, that'd be the 5th root. Okay, first of all, how do I get 5 to what power gives you 25?
Second.
How do I get something to flip to the basement?
Negative?
Ah, there you go. You got it. You got it. So don't forget, negative exponent flips to the basement. You brought up a really good one. Log 64 to what power gives you 8? Now, if you just okay, write it as an exponent. What's my base?
64.
4. To what power gives you 8? Well, what do you think's happened? Huh. It's like we've square rooted it, right? So how do I write a square root as an exponent? What is the square root?
At -8.
Nope, not a -8. Thank you for taking a risk. How do I write 64? What's the number here, though? I don't see it when I square root.
2.
2. So how would I write that? That would be the same as saying 64 to the,
1/2.
ah, there you go, to the 1/2 power. So half powers mean roots. So I haven't told you anything that you don't know as far as your properties. You know those. Okay. So, we've been talking, this has all been about logs, okay? And being able to just find logs and use your calculator. Here's the thing about logs. And let's go ahead, I'll flip the next page, okay? The thing to use logs okay? On your calculator, the common so in order to use the calculator, your log has to be a base of 10. And if you are like, how am I supposed to remember that? Well, if you look at your calculator, you'll see right above the log on your calculator, see how it says 10 to the x? That's a base of 10. So if you use your calculator, it has to have a base of 10 for it to work. Okay, so for example, and what it'll look like is this. It'll give you the answer log 8. Notice there's no little number down here, okay? So see how there's no little number down there, okay? We assume, if you don't see a number down there, you assume it's a 10, okay? So how do you get that on your calculator? You just put in log 8. Okay, I want you to do that and put that in the chat box. Your answer to 2 decimal places, please. Okay, 2 decimal places. Put it in the chat box, please, for participation. Go. Okay, I'll give you 1 minute.
Wait, so we just put what we got in the chat box then?
Yes, Harrison. All right. Time's up. Two decimal places. Okay, we've got to practice. All right, here we go. So log 8, and I hit enter, and I get 0.90. So I'm going to look for the 3rd decimal place. Okay, and then if it's 5 and above, give it a shove. Okay, 4 and below, leave it low, and so it'd be 0.90. Okay, 0.90. Okay, so that's only if you have a base. If you do what we've been doing and it doesn't have a base of 10, you can't just put it in on your calculator as of right now. The other piece on your calculator that I want to make sure you understand is ln, which is the natural log. Okay, so maybe I'm going to put this to remind you. And you'll notice above your ln button, it's your friend e to the x. Okay, that is the natural log. Okay, so when you see ln for something, remember that has the base of 2.7, what it was, 2.718. Okay, but again, you can put that in right on your calculator. So would you do natural log 0.3 and round it to 2 decimal places and put that in the chat box, please? Again, 1 minute in the chat box. natural log 0.3. So ln on your calculator. Okay, ln right there. So natural log 0.3. Okay, put it in on the chat. Thank you, Emily, Zoe, Jenna, Ryan, Grace, thank you. Matt Cross, thank you. Nick, Ethan, Jacob, Jason, Tyler, Isaiah, Harrison, 2 decimal places, everyone, 2 decimal places. Avery, Jacob, Donovan. Remember, we're using natural log, friends. Eli, thank you. All right. All right, that's it. Okay, so when I do natural log 0.3, I get negative 2 point, and again, I look at the 3. 3 is below 4, so negative 1.2. Okay, so that's important that we can go back and forth using those. Okay, so our job today is literally working on being able to write those back and forth, okay? To start recognizing those. That's literally, and I know that might sound like, wow, this is really easy. That's okay, because if we don't understand how to write those back and forth, we're really going to struggle with the rest of the section, okay? So being able to write back and forth. And you can use your calculators, I don't have a problem, but your power table will definitely help you with that, okay? So, I am going to